Welcome back on the AM show, and we appreciate you spending your holiday with us. It's time for AM Exclusive. It's Thursday, it's a holiday, but for God and country, we're bringing you one of the trailblazers in Ghanaian politics. I'm going to have a conversation with someone I introduced earlier in our lineup, but I want to bring you up to speed. So this woman is a Ghanaian politician. She was the presidential candidate for the Progressive People's Party in 2020. And she was also a columnist at Graphic Communications, where she wrote for Manners Matters. When you see her, you see why I'm quite excited to be speaking with her. But let's get straight into it. My guest today for AM Exclusive is Brigitte Dzogbenuku. Hello, Madam
Hi.
Brigitte Dzogbenuku.
Sweetie.
Thank you for joining us. How are you feeling today?
Tired.
Yeah.
I had to get out of my bed on this rainy holiday morning to be here at this time. So, yeah, I'm here.
But I must say that the red lips makes it look like you're really excited to be here.
Okay, then let me say I'm excited.
Yes, you are. But it's good to have you. And like I was saying, this is about you, what you've been up to, and some of your thoughts on the major things happening in the country. So, starting with, what's not on your Wikipedia page? Or how do you describe yourself to someone who doesn't know you?
I'm somebody's daughter.
Okay. That's a start.
Oh, yeah, it's a start. I'm somebody's daughter, both deceased by it, but still. I'm the last of, I come from a family of 5 children.
Okay.
But we're not children anymore. We are all adults, obviously. You mentioned before we came on air that my Wikipedia page didn't have my product.
Business, yeah.
And if I'm here and I've been given this platform, the first thing I should talk about is my product, Way Flavor.
Okay.
Way Flavor is Jomi palm oil of the most superior quality, produced by women in the very traditional area where I come from, in the Afajatu South district. Okay. So these women have been doing this thing for ages, for years, generation after generation. I was introduced to this Jomi by my mother because she would not buy any other from Accra. Okay. And anytime she bought from Accra, she had to complain about it. At the time, I used to think...
Why was that? Was it diluted?
She said it was... My mother was a good cook, by the way, and loved the flavor of her food. And she believed that the oil from Accra was not authentic. Okay. Well, it was always mixed with something. You know, there's Jomi and there's palm red oil. Right. And the red oil tends to be a little sticky. You know, you eat it as steak, so it congeals. Jomi is lighter, has a flavor. Doesn't leave residue.
Aftermath.
Yes.
Yeah, right.
So she always could tell almost immediately. So for a long time, I mean, most of my lifetime, my mother only brought Jomi from my hometown, from V. And
now you've made a business out of it.
I've made a business.
How is that going in this economy?
It's going well. It's been difficult. It's been difficult. I've seen the trends when people would buy large quantities or the bigger packages to now people buying in small quantities simply because really you can't put all your money in one thing. They can't afford it anymore. Things are tough. The women are producing, but sales are slow. And it's the economy. You know, things are tough.
But I mean, you're staying afloat.
Yes, we are. It's difficult. How are we staying afloat? I'll start first with you've got to cut back on certain things. One thing I've cut back on is even the working hours of my employees. We've cut down to 3 days a week instead of 5 days a week. I feed my employees. So if you come, sales are slow, so we are not packaging as much and all that, then you've got to, be wise about it.
Because at the end of the day, you have to make profits,
Well, you are trying to make profits, but you are trying. Your costs outstrip your profits by far. There's a transportation, fuel, things like that. electricity. It's.
Are you experiencing doom so? Because you mentioned electricity, maybe let's start from.
I am.
Okay.
And I hope I'm not speaking too quickly, but it's reasonable so far.
Okay.
But I am experiencing doom so. A couple of times a week, in the evenings from around 6 or 7 o'clock. So sometimes in the AM or sometimes 11 p.m. It depends.
Yeah. Okay.
Hopefully, I'm not saying where I live so that they will
target you and take it off, huh?
Yes.
Right. Do you think
you
that...
know, I'm very fussy, sweetie. So whilst I'm here, can they take the R out of my last name?
Oh, okay. Please take the R out of her last name. They'll do that for you. Thank you. Apologies for that.
It's fine.
Right, okay. So do you think we need a timetable? Do you think if we had a timetable, a load shedding timetable, we'll better manage our lives?
No doubt. I mean, this is not even science to, try to figure it out. If we have a timetable, you know how to manage your evenings, for example, if it's a personal life.
Yeah.
And of course, industry knows how to schedule their workers to come. I mean, I have a printer. Of course, I have labels on my products, so I have a printer. Call them, we need labels, and normally it's quick turnaround. You get it tomorrow, you get it. Yeah. And then we call them the next day, and they said, well, we can't give it to you because we didn't have power yesterday. And he will not be promising me delivery if he knew that, tomorrow we don't have power. So, you'll get your labels on the third day. I mean, it's as simple as that. We need a timetable.
Have you been following what the energy minister has been saying? And I mean, the conversations going on between ECG, Gridco, and all the power players.
I followed for a while and I stopped because it's frustrating. If, you can't figure it out. I find that we are putting in measures and policies without consideration for the average Ghanaian. It's about what we are doing, and the outcome is for us alone and for our image and for our party.
Yeah.
But there is no consideration whatsoever of the impact that it has on the average Ghanaian. And that is the frustration for me. So I was following for a while, but when you say to me that I should go and draw up my own timetable, it's an insult. It's an insult, and at that point, I switch off.
Yesterday, I went to town to assess how this erratic power issue is affecting businesses. Some cold stores tell me that they are losing not only money, products, customers, because the meat will go bad. People think that you are doing something wrong, and so they will not return to buy from you. When it goes bad and you see it, you have to throw it out. And so I think it's time we all just added our voice to saying that we need a timetable. We know there's a power deficit. We know there's a problem. And it's not going away anytime soon. Just help us better manage it.
And this is where my gender lens comes
Please,
from.
give me all the gender.
Women are in many businesses that are completely dependent on electricity, on power, and energy. Our salons, our cold stores, a lot of women SMEs, yes, clothing, fashion, clothing, dressmakers. A lot of these women's businesses, these SMEs that we tout and say they, fuel the Ghanaian economy, are dependent on energy. We continue to tax us. We continue to, chase after them. There was a radio station once that was going after women's business. I heard once or twice they would go with a GRA task force, and it would be aired. And I was thinking, what are we doing to women's business? Why are you doing this? I mean, I'm not saying you shouldn't chase them for their taxes, but why are you? I asked the station, why are you publicizing this? Why are you only scare us women? And a lot of women, I think there are more women in the SME than there are men. Yes. Why target us? And therefore, with this power crisis, when you think that SMEs are actually fueling your economy, why don't you just respect them for what value they add and say, you know, we are in a crisis too. This is what we can do for you. Don't disrespect us.
But it is what it is. That's the situation we find
You know, it ought not to be what it is, because there are women in governance, in leadership, in parliament, who ought to speak up in cases like this, looking at it from the angle of, look, it's in the, from the angle of human beings, humanity, Ghanaians, and our lives and livelihoods.
Yeah. I understand what you're saying. But before we continue with the current issues and our takes on that, I want to get to know you a little bit more. You've worn many hats, from columnist to general manager at Aviation Social Center, Ashanti Goldfields Corporation, SC Johnson Wax, you know, flag bearer of the PPP. So many of these roles that you've found yourself in. Which of them required the most from you in terms of growth and adaptability? Which of these did you find the most challenging to you?
Probably, see, each was during a period, so I can't say one did more than the other. But probably a general manager of Aviation Social Center.
Okay.
It was new. For the first time, maybe not the first time, because I learned from a gym that I used to attend, which was set up by an American man and his Ghanaian wife, Tyrone Moore.
Okay.
And his wife was Dora Bedwansa, yes. And it was called the Accra Fitness Center. It used to be located opposite Country Kitchen. I believe Country Kitchen is still there, in Ringway. So I was a member there, and they made a business out of the gym. Initially, gyms were just run. People would go there, pick up metals, whatever. But they made a business of it. And there was a friend I lived with, an African-American friend called Leslie Flagg. And Leslie put together a business plan for them. Okay. And I read that business. Out of the blue, I just picked it up and read it for the sake of it. Fast forward, I don't know, 10 years maybe. Oh. I came back from working in Ashanti in Tanzania, which was another place of growth for me, because I studied Swahili, I speak Swahili, and I worked with it in Tanzania. But when I came back, they wanted a general manager for Aviation Social Center. Fitness and sports was my passion. I enjoyed it. I did it. Okay. Yeah, I was a sportswoman all my life. In Wesley Girls High School and University of Ghana.
See, that's
I played. Yeah. You see, I played basketball. Okay. I was the captain of the women's basketball team in the University of Ghana in the early 90s. Okay. So anyway, so with that passion and that interest and the little I had learned from that business plan, I said I can do this. You know, it's not simply knowledge that runs a place. There's also got to be interest and passion and drive, right, and vision, you know. So that was a place of growth for me, to be able to take it and make it a business rather than just a place of recreation. Right. It was a lot of growth for me. There was a lot of learning from there. What I don't know whether it says anything about my mentoring.
Mentoring women.
Mentoring women.
Yes.
Mentoring Women is an organization, a non-profit I started when I came back, when I was selected to participate in the Fortune Global Women's Mentoring Partnership Program. It's a U.S. State Department funded program in partnership with Fortune, the women Fortune 500 companies, women in Fortune 500 companies. It's a program that is run by an organization in the U.S. called Vital Voices that invests in women's leadership all over the world. So it takes women from various parts of the world, we are taken to the US. We are given mentors from the Fortune 500 companies.
Okay.
And, you know, we learn best practice.
How that works. So
Yes.
were you one of the mentors?
I was a mentee at the time.
Okay, all right.
So I was a mentee. My mentor, interesting, was the president of the WNBA at the time.
Okay.
She, interestingly, has gone on
Women's
National Basketball Association. Okay. Yes. So I was in the WNBA headquarters for 3.5 weeks.
Okay.
Interacted with her and many, many other women like Billie Jean King. I'm a tennis fanatic. You know, as I sit here, I probably will be missing Monte Carlo. It will start soon.
Okay.
So I play tennis as well. So, and if I might add, my favorite place is Accra Lawn Tennis Club. If I don't say this, they'll kill me.
Okay. So, before we go on to activities of the PPP, do you think that our sports industry needs salvaging, or do you think it's beyond redemption?
There's nothing beyond redemption. It can be salvaged.
Okay. What would it take to fix it?
Less corruption. And you see, when you talk about our sports industry, frankly, it's limited to football. There are so many disciplines, men's football, and there are so many other disciplines where we have so much talent. I mean, if you come and watch, if you watch some of our tennis matches for our amateurs and some professionals, we have so much talent. Those boys in Osu are amazing. When you go to the stadium or you come to Accra Lawn Tennis Club, when we have these tournaments, why are we letting these boys go to waste? We have so much talent. We are not investing in it. We are not investing. The investment in sports is so personal. It's so, what do I get? So much so that it dies. Instead of investing in the other day I heard on the news how the women's football team were begging for money due. Why do they beg for money due them? Yeah. Why? I mean, and you can't tell me you don't have the money because you have been paid the money. So why are we doing this? Why do we do this to ourselves? Why do we make it look as if it's a favor done them by they being members of the soccer team? It's unfair. It's unfair. And this is only because people are only looking at their personal gain and not looking at the bigger picture. You know.
But I think the women in sports, like yourself, you could take up roles that, change the status quo, especially for women in sports.
We would like to. We would like to, but you're not wanted there.
You're not wanted.
Of course not. I mean, if you're going to come and take money out of somebody's hands, why would they want you to come and do things right? I mean, you can ask anybody who has tried to do things right in the Ministry of Sports or
Ghana Football
Association or Sports Authority or whatever. Yeah. It suffers. They suffer because you are threatening other people's, money.
Means of amassing wealth.
There you go.
At the expense of impoverishing.
So they won't want you there. Yeah. They don't want you there. I mean, it will take a lot, and you have to fight and fight and fight. And hopefully, you hope you come out alive.
Yeah. During the closing ceremony of the African Games, some of those who spoke described it as one of the best ever hosted in Africa. How do you react to that?
I haven't watched any African Games through and through. Okay. And even this one, I was busy, my mentoring program. Yeah. So one of the days, the last day that I wanted to go, I was late and there was plenty of traffic. I couldn't get there on time. But I've heard things. I mean, there were things to do with the infrastructure and how it wasn't finished, and they were still painting and drilling and doing all kinds of things. And I heard how the South African team, for example, left
And how there was very little investment in the human resources, the players themselves, the athletes themselves, in their training.
Yeah. So I really do not have a yardstick by which to compare this one. But there were issues. We have the tendency of saying we were the best and the best ever since and independence and all that. At the end of the day, it wasn't perfect. And there's still a lot of room for improvement. I do understand that at some point the lights went off somewhere. I mean, so are you saying to me that is the best ever? There were still issues.
All right.
Well done to them. I think the closing ceremony, there were very great reviews about it. It went very well. Possibly the opening as well. When the game started, I think they were insisting on people paying, so there wasn't much of spectators. But that changed. And therefore, I think that there's learning to do it better. I'm told that they say we are now in a position to hold Commonwealth Games. Yes. Okay.
Okay, huh? I guess time will reveal all.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Let's talk about the PPP. Are you filing for... I understand nominations will be open from 1st April. Is it open?
Yes.
Are you filing for flag bearer position?
I'm praying about it.
Oh, okay.
And
why is there a pause to that decision making? Because you were flag bearer last election year.
Yes. It's a different time.
Okay.
It's different times. The PPP has been through a lot. Many challenges. There may be other people who are interested as well. The landscape has changed a lot. I mean, the last time I filed, the last time I ran for office, I mean, everything has changed, hasn't it?
It's just been 4 years.
Yes, but a lot has changed.
Like what?
There weren't many other parties on the scene. It wasn't the NPP's last term.
Okay.
The campaign changes with the period.
Okay.
So you must look at it and look at the prospects, look at what inroads you can make, see that you are still relevant and your message is still relevant, and many things. So I am thinking through all these things and praying about it. And speaking to people about it. I still have until the 30th of April.
Okay.
I believe that before that, I would have made a decision.
Hopefully when you make your decision, you can tell us first.
Oh, yes. You know how it is. You make the decision and all of you will follow me, I hope. Yeah.
But you're still very relevant in the PPP. How is the party preparing for election 2024? We've seen a lot of campaign activities from the two major political parties. John Mahama building Ghana tall, President Akufo-Addo and his government, digitalization, breaking the 8, launching things all over the place. How are you preparing for?
We are organizing at the grassroots. We are organizing. There's a lot of organization going on. I think when you go to places like KEA, you go to, we have a very active regional chairman in Kumasi, in the Ashanti region. If you go up north, we have people there who are active and getting the party organized on the ground, as they say. So we are working towards that. The frenzy of the elections will probably build up in the second half of the year.
Okay.
And you will see us there.
Okay. Do you think the PPP is is a formidable third force? Or could it be a formidable third force?
We are a force.
On the back.
We don't want to say a third force because that means that we come after the first and the second. We are also a force, and we will you will prove or will bring a showing, will show forth
okay.
In due course.
But it's 5 months already.
Yes.
And there hasn't really, you have not been in the news on your campaign activities.
Well,
Do you think that you have enough time to first organize, prepare, campaign, mobilize the youth? Because we are the ones shaking things up now.
You see, mobilize the youth, and I'll say this. You are the ones shaking things up now. But shake things up from the organization. Oh, thank you. Shake things up. Thank you very much. Shake things up from now. Don't sit and wait and say, what are you doing, PPP? We need all of you. So if you want to shake things up, come and shake us up. Come shake things up with us.
How do you mean? How do we shake things up?
Register as a member of our party. Start campaigning for PPP wherever you find yourself. Find a candidate to support wherever you find yourself. Look for the executives and see what you can do to contribute to our party. You know, I say to the people in my party that a lot of the campaign now is on social media, and the youth are very social media savvy. So bring your social media skills to support us. Put us all over social media. You've heard me today. Say something about me on social media. Say you'll support me. But more importantly, please go and register. Okay. A lot of the youth are not registered voters.
Well, we like to respond to a call, I think. So perhaps that's the gap. We've not been getting that call from you, from the party, to join you to register.
Regardless, it is your civic duty that you vote. So whilst you are waiting for me to hear something from me, go and register. Okay. And also, in fact, if I had known that you were going to be talking to me about PPP, because I was told it was a personal thing. Yeah. I would have, we have a short code. Okay. And maybe I should find it before I go. Okay. You can go on that short code and register as a member of the party. Okay. Yes. It's called EVA, and we'll find it. Okay, no problem. And put it up before I go.
No problem.
So that you
proceed.
Yes.
Yeah. Have you been following this child marriage issue?
Yes, I have.
You are a women advocate, a leading woman, also in politics, and you talked very passionately about mentoring women in your activities, which occupies most of your time. How do you react to this? Well, they're saying she's 16 years old. How do you react to this 16-year-old girl being betrothed to such an old man?
It's wrong. I wrote about it a few times on social media. It's wrong. Regardless of how you try to justify it, it is wrong. And that is why they try to find all kinds of answers or reasons to it. Oh, it's not a marriage, it's a betrothal. Yeah. She's 16. She's not 18. Oh, it's not so. She wasn't marrying him, even from all indications, even though from all indications of the video, it seemed like a marriage ceremony. It wasn't marrying him. She was marrying a deity. That smacks of Trokoshi. Trokoshi was banned several years ago. So, by the way, one of my names is Koshi, and I was named after a Trokoshi. My great-grandmother.
Koshi.
Very spiritual woman, I'm told, and strong. So, yes. So, as I was saying, it's wrong on all fronts, no matter how you try to justify it. This is a child who must be allowed to grow and learn, and in due time, if she wants to be married, she can marry when she is able to take decisions on her own. Now they say, oh, but it's our culture. I mean, if this is our culture, and we are talking proper human
rights,
proper human sexual rights and family values, this is certainly not. If you are going to pass a bill into an act on proper human sexual whatever and family values, this certainly goes against it. So please, it's wrong on all fronts. It ought not to have been done. And if it was done, people bring videos of the girl saying, look how happy she looked. What did she know? She doesn't know any better. And indeed, I mean, they say, oh, but there were women there, and you, the women advocates, the women there. What do they know? Do they know any better? You know? So I heard someone on air saying they need to be educated. Of course they need to be educated. Each of them have rights. There's a certain socialization that has put us women in a certain place to think and act in a certain way. We've got to think about it and say, this is not right. It is not her, it's against her rights for this to happen. And then we take it away. You see, the one thing that I heard that I got really irritated about was the fact that they said, oh, but they couldn't find a virgin. Who de-virginizes these girls? I mean, who then? If you, the men, cannot find a virgin and it's a virgin you want, why then do you deflower them before their time?
Yeah.
They don't deflower themselves. They don't de-virginize themselves. It is a man who causes it. So what are you talking about? You know.
Let's stay on rights for a little bit longer. This anti-LGBTQ plus bill passed by Parliament, or proper human sexual rights and family values bill.
I shouldn't have brought that up. But anyway, let's go.
I just want to pick your quick thoughts on it. Yesterday, Asedun Ketia, chairman of NDC, was speaking to Evans Mensah, and he mentioned that Akufo-Addo cannot pass the bill. He orchestrated this lawsuit to prevent him from assenting to the bill. And we know that the bill was passed by Parliament, and was just a matter of assenting to it. And now there's this impasse. You know, we're neither moving forward nor backwards. How do you feel about this bill? Do you think that a day will come where we will actually have a law against LGBTQ plus activities in Ghana?
Maybe I should ask you, do you want an anti-LGBTQ law?
I can answer this after the show. Right now,
so why are you asking me to
Well,
answer?
you're a leading woman. And views, yeah.
I have and this is personal. This is not PPP or this is personally. Look, everybody is looking for love, affection, care.
And freedom.
All of us. Now, what I term love is not what you term love.
Okay.
Your love can be based on money. Your love can be based on a certain admiration of the person's. My love can be based on something completely different. You cannot tell me how to love, and I cannot tell you how to love. So, love cannot be legislated. So people say, well, LGBTQ is not love. How do we know?
That's interesting.
How do we know that it is not love?
Okay.
Why would people choose a certain kind of relationship? Okay? Why would they choose a certain kind of relationship when they know that they will be hated for it? It is because they are probably lacking in that which you perceive.
It's normal to
Yes.
the other. Okay.
It is because they are lacking in what you feel is the normal way to go. So this is not when we should be thinking about jailing them for their choices, or this is when we should think about how do we remedy that. Where, you know, there are so many circumstances under which people become or choose to be LGBTQ and plus. But ultimately, each of them is doing it because of something they want, which will make them feel loved or have affection or accepted And some of these people, that is the only way they have felt accepted. So let's not jump to the symptoms of it. Let's look at the causes. You know, people say, oh, a lot of them are pedophiles. You have a priest marrying a 16-year-old. What do you call that?
So you don't think we need a bill, that law at all? Because people should have the freedom to love anyhow and whoever they want to love.
I don't agree with the law.
Okay.
I think it's drastic. It is, we need to understand, seek to understand what is making these people make those choices. We seem to have this paintbrush and paint everybody LGBTQ with the same brush. But just like heterosexual relationships, each one is different. And there is a reason why each one has made that choice. It's like for us, we're heterosexuals. You make choices of who you want to date or marry based on different things. Who you will choose is not who I will choose. And if we actually take time to understand them and see why they have made these choices and address those issues informing their choices, maybe we'll be a bit more compassionate or sympathetic.
So where does Ghanaian proper cultural values come in? Because the majority of Ghanaians seem to be on the side of, you know, a law that protects the young people from that sort of orientation. Because what they see on TV, what they see in the environments they grew up in, sort of forms their
You know what? If you want things that will prevent the young ones, fix your housing system, for example. Fix your housing so that children do not have to share a bedroom with a father and mother.
Okay.
And see them being intimate on a daily basis, so they want to practice. If you want the young ones to desist, go into your SHS, your crowded SHS schools where two teenage boys have to share a bed. Go and fix that. These are the things we must address, not what they have become by virtue of the fact that you have these issues.
Okay.
That is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Your children are growing up on the streets. We have, men who are not taking care of their sons and their children. These are the things. These ought to be our proper family values. Okay? Not trying to stop what they have become as a factor of not taking care of what is important in the first place.
Okay.
If you have two teenage boys sharing a bed in school, what are you breeding?
Okay. Let's stay on education because, it's a conversation.
Sure. I was told it was 45 minutes. So when my time is up, I'll just get up and go.
Please don't get up and go. We just have about 10 more minutes to go. I don't know if you followed our Joy News documentary, The Free SHS Promise, Empty Plates. That's documented.
I saw a clip of it,
right.
Not all of it, yes.
Okay. So that's about the quality of food that they're feeding students under the Free SHS policy. And then there's also issue about accommodation and how students are jammed in their classrooms and even lack of teachers because everyone wants to travel outside. On the back of that, the government just launched Ghana Smart Schools projects where they're sharing tablets to senior high school students. What's your take on this seemingly, I don't want to say disorganized, but what's your take on all these issues stemming from our education
We
sector?
need to fix the fundamentals. And I think that we are all to blame. You see, when the government drafts a policy the policy might sound good, but the implementation of it, there's a problem. And we can all see that there's a problem. I was on an argument on my Accra Lawn Tennis Club, or one of those platforms recently. There is an obvious problem with the free SHS system, which your documentary aptly covered. Yeah. Why are we being arrogant about it and saying it will not work, and saying you will not review it? And you see, we have this, I've won the argument, and then what? So because we must win at all costs, we will defend that system. From the get-go, if you go back on my social media posts, you will see me. I kept saying, let's wait and see if it will work. It's not working. The children are hungry. They are crowded. I mean, I was mortified to hear that my school, Wesley Girls High School, at some point, I don't know if it's still so, we're sitting on plastic chairs. Someone said, oh, you're even lucky they have chairs, you know.
We have schools under trees.
Yes.
Yeah.
And all that. It's not working. And then the argument I was having was that somebody had come and said, this is the, again, best. This is the best. This is the most this is the most. This is the highest number of SHS students that have gone through. So you are marking the success based solely on the number of people who have gone. Yeah. So I called it an assembly line education. Okay, so this goes through. Okay, this goes through, and this goes through. What is the quality? And one day we're going to wake up and find that our youth, our graduates, are not going to be competitive on the international market. Yeah. So you've given them tablets. You see, we like this thing of the superficial, what can be seen and
whitewash.
Yes. Whereas underneath, there's a lot of fluff. So we really must go back down to the fundamentals. And when I say we have failed ourselves a lot, I will call on my Wesley Girls mates, for example. How many of us are teachers? How many of us went back to the teaching profession here in Ghana? Why is it that, I know Wesley Girls High School, for example, has Wesley Girls Accra and I think Kumasi, but it's not the same. Why did we not why over all these years did we not replicate Wesley Girls when we had 9 or 10 regions, in 4 or 6 of the 10 regions, the same module, what made us what we are? Why did we not? Why did we not replicate Achimota School? Why did we not replicate Infanspem School? Prempe, Presec? Why is it one? So that all the children from wherever want to come there. This is what is causing the crowding. Right. You know, I was in Wesley Girls High School. I was an athlete, I told you. So I had the opportunity to spend time in another school. I'm not going to mention the school, but in another school. And I saw how different it was. Okay. The indiscipline, which was just allowed to ride. They wouldn't have called it indiscipline then. But we were taught to respect bells, chapel was mandatory, dining hall was mandatory, work inspection. There were certain things that we were just made to do. Okay. In this other school, when I went as an athlete, we stayed there from Thursday to Sunday. I was shocked that even the teachers could not enforce the rules. Now, we've all graduated and we are all in Ghana. And for some, it's fine to disrespect traffic lights or, and all that. I am saying that module that made a success of all these schools, we ought to have replicated in all the others. But so that is where we as Ghanaians have failed. And we continue to fail if we keep quiet and if we see documentaries such as yours and continue to keep quiet about it or tout this free SHS system as successful.
Yeah. So our fundamentals are weak in the education system.
Our fundamentals are weak everywhere.
Our fundamentals are weak everywhere. Your words. We are wrapping up, but my last question to you will be on the issue of the Global Fund. You know, this Global Fund institutes that provides HIV, antiretroviral drugs and all to Ghana for free, I must add. And now they have to pay $40,000, or the 400,000 or 40,000?
3.5 million in taxes.
Okay, yeah.
The value of
before they can clear those goods so that patients can get access to medicines.
And it's not now, it's been a year.
40 million.
The value of the value of the drugs was 48 million.
Okay.
The taxes was 3-point-something million.
Okay. I'll fact check the
yes.
Later.
And yeah, this is where I say that, okay, we take the human beings and we take the fellow man out of our consideration. And all we focus on is cash and money.
In our pockets.
Yes. So, I mean, and you go to Parliament, you sit in the chamber, in the visitors area, and hear them as they pass the write-off taxes or give people moratoria to not to pay taxes. And for this, only because these people who have tuberculosis and who have HIV, AIDS, don't know anybody. Or nobody knows them.
Yeah.
You're not related to any of them. You don't care. They simply do not care. First of all, this is other people's money that they have used to procure drugs for you.
Drugs that the country really needs.
Yes. And, you know, I went out for a meal with my nieces the other day. And when the tab came, I mean the taxes. The taxes. Okay? No problem. These are people who, if they were healthy, would work and pay taxes. But we are not looking at that. We are looking at the right now, here and now, let's collect that money. And because of that, you have kept these essential drugs sitting in some warm warehouse somewhere for a year. You know, there's no consideration whatsoever. We value the cash more than we value human lives. It's a pity.
Well, that's what bring us to the end of our conversation. But before I let you go, I'd like you to talk briefly about your activities on women, mentoring women.
Oh, I love talking about mentoring
yes,
women.
I know. So we can wrap with that. What's the latest with mentoring women?
So mentoring women, we have an annual program called the Global Mentoring Walk.
Okay.
We bring together mentees from all over. Some came from the north, Sunyani. Every year, we've had it since 2008.
Okay.
And this year, we had it around international, I think it was on the 9th of March. Okay. We bring them in about, this year we had 36 young ladies. Brought them in, had 2 days of seminars, and the third day, we put them together with their mentors who had already applied to be mentors. Women in industry, women, accomplished women, experienced women. And I'd like to say a special thank you to the women in engineering. Okay. They brought a few of them volunteered to be mentors. Okay. And then we pair them with our mentees. And they form a mentoring relationship. Because we've had this running since 2009, we have some mentees who have now become mentors.
Oh, okay.
So it's a nice community we are building of mentees and mentors. And it's not just a relationship. One of the now mentors, who was a mentee to my sister, who was a mentor, has been introduced or helped to get into all kinds of positions with jobs. She recently got her to be on a board of the Women's Trust. And they also are helping others to move into leadership positions. They help them with their studies. They help them with their, essays and long
Does it include
essays.
finances?
No.
Does the mentor?
No. They are not bank accounts.
Okay.
But the mentors help in many, many ways. Some mentors voluntarily help their mentees with some money. They give them, some have given them phones, for example. But that is purely on a personal basis. When I went on my mentoring program, a mentee was taken to Singapore on a private jet. It's the mentor and what they choose to do. But there is a relationship, there is growth and learning, and I must say it goes both ways, because some of the mentees teach our mentors like us, how to use Snapchat and Instagram and things like that we don't know.
The Gen Zs, they know everything.
Yes. So that is the kind of... we have follow-up programs called Conversations, where we have the mentees and the mentors come together. It's like a soiree for interaction and networking, but we take one topic and they talk about it. We had one last year. Sadly, we lost one of the mentors on that program, Cynthia Kwaku. I don't know if you knew about her. But we have another one coming up. We want to have an interaction with the women in the security services.
Okay.
Women in security services. Powerful, strong, powerful women. Yeah. So I'll let you know. And then
yes, ma'am. Please, I will be joining you because you've invited me. Yes. But thank you so much for spending your morning with us.
Thank you very much.
Insightful and very interesting conversation.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So think about everything.
Think about everything.
People first.
Yes, people first. Those are your final words.
People first.
People first. Progressive People's Party.
And Progressive People's Party, please go and register. I was actually looking for the EVA.
Right, the short code.
The short code. And here I have it. It's just the EVA name, but I'll find it for you just now. It's a phone number. It's not a short code.
My guest for AM Exclusive today, Brigitte Dzogbenuku. We've talked about a lot of things from education, power, and business, economy, and so many. If you just joined us and you've lost some parts of the conversation, do watch it on our YouTube. But stay with us. There's still more coming up on the AM show right here on Joy News. Thank you for watching, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you
we'll be right
very
back.
much. Thank you.